What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of JR's Corner. I'm here with paracyclist Tony Mold and Michaela Nalman. Michaela Nalman. She was Tony's carer in when they went to Belgium, and she's a fitness instructor here at Marty's Gymnasium. So Tony, welcome. I'm really happy to have you here. And Michaela.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sorry, I just need that back. So Tony, just a bit of your background. I mean, people here at the gym, we see you here. You come in on a daily basis. You come to train, and I'm sure members. I mean, if they don't know you by now, the new members, just to give them a bit of background, where you come from, and your cycling background a bit, you know.
I grew up in Clipchamp, Bay, so I was there for my school years, or most of the school years. And I always had the desire to compete in sport, always. I didn't know where it came from. None of my family are sporty at all. My journey with cycling actually started at 7 years old. I went to a school for disabled children with a large campus. And I obviously couldn't walk from race to class, and my mother refused to let them put me in a wheelchair. So I started to crawl to classes, but it was just too far. And the physicians, they eventually put me on a little tricycle, and I cycled between the hospital and class and therapy. So basically, I still remember in a free time in the afternoons going to the parking lot and playing on my tricycle.
Trying to do them wheelies, Tony.
Like what we see now, we see a woman, a very courageous woman living with CP, with cerebral palsy, and we can get into that now. I can let Michaela just explain the basic of what it means or what it is, you know, to be living with CP. You just explain to us, as somebody that's been training Tony for a long, I don't know how many years.
4 years.
How many years have you guys been together?
4 years.
And just a bit of your relationship with Tony as well, and just the background of.
Do you have time?
Of CP.
Do you have time?
I have time. I'm on leave. I'm on leave. I set my leave out in this period so we can do this. There we go.
Okay, hey there guys, Michaela from Marty's Gym, and getting to meet Tony in my first year of working at Marty's was very amazing. It was a bit daunting at the first time because I can never forget them saying to me, there's a lady that you're going to need to help, and they will actually has a disability. And I was like, okay,
what were you
I
thinking
can't.
initially?
I don't know. I at the time I didn't know what to expect. So at the time it was like, wow, I don't know what I'm gonna get.
Yeah.
And when she walked in the door, I was like, oh, okay, wow. So it's gonna be quite a distance, you know, a distance in terms of trying to bridge the gap. So that was, you know, that's been a blessing. I mean, not knowing anything on CP, I mean, you still don't get. There's not a lot of research in terms of your cycling and CP. You don't really get too many people.
But I know in my category, I'm currently the most disabled person in my class. My class is a class of
Mixed disabilities.
disabilities.
So you got the two, you got the T1 and T2. So she fits in the T1, which is obviously more severely affected by the disability, versus the T2, which is less affected. They're still affected by the disability, but it's just less than in terms of, for instance, let's say
So
Tony.
Tony could basically be in a race or in a class of her own, but
Yeah.
because there's no one else that is as severely disabled, so now you have to compete against people that are
A bit more able. Yeah.
able.
So to get on a bike, off a bike,
Very,
most of them
it's
can.
very complicated and a bit tricky as well, eh?
It's sad when you look at
Yeah.
the amount. There's not very many people in the classes, hence why it's only a T1 and T2. You can answer that one because I only have a limited on what yours is.
It's a very, very wide ranging. It ranges from barely noticeable to wheelchair unable to do anything at all. So my sleeping is due to birth complications. Obviously, it's quite severe. It affects every part of my day-to-day. From the moment I get up from this time.
Look, obviously, I needed to do the rest of it, meeting her and getting to talk to her. I think for me, it's still a funny thing because every time I was always like, sorry, Tony, what was that? Sorry, Tony. And I think I learned a lot of patience and a lot of completely locking out every other kind of distraction and just listening to what it is that she's saying, because it is very difficult for somebody who's never met her before, you know, to come in and try and have a conversation, and then it's always like, sorry, what? Which is a big stigma. It's something that irritates me the most. She's a person, you know, don't treat her as anything less. She's educated, and she can hold a conversation just as the rest of us can, which is something I realized very quick, that a lot of people don't want to have that kind of conversation, and it's, you block off immediately, or you get so nervous that it's like, sorry, I can't hear you, I didn't know what you said. Look, the friendship, we've developed a massive friendship over the time, and obviously being able to have the massive opportunity of being able to go across to Belgium as her carer, that was, you know, an eye-opener for me. It lit a fire in my belly about not specifically just sport in itself, but para sport. When you look at that para sport side, it lights up a whole nother light. It opens up your eyes to a factor that we never knew. I never knew that was such a big part.
Okay, so the whole trip to Belgium, how did it come about? Who organized it, and where did it come from? And the support that you guys got, you know, what was the type of support, and who was the role players in the whole getting there and the trip? Because I mean, I just see the pictures. You guys were on the plane. You guys like, whoop, whoop. You know, you guys were having a blast, and it just looked like an amazing trip and opportunity.
But I think because I'm the only woman on the tricycle in Africa, T1 and T2, I'm the only track. I need to go overseas to find any competition. So, to compete and to earn points towards the next Paralympics, I have to go overseas. I can't earn any points. Yeah.
I think a week before we were supposed to be flying, my visa arrived, which that was it. That picture that you actually see where we doing that plane motion, that was the day my visa actually came. Yeah. So my visa actually arrived that day, because obviously we were trying to make the decision on whether to pull out or not, because we didn't know what was happening with the visa. And it was the start of a very amazing relationship and bond that we built. I mean, especially after, like we said, like there was a lot of things that happened in between. I mean, she was just an inspiration in terms of when we got faced with a bit of adversity in Belgium, with second-degree burns on her shoulder, and getting her to the hospital and with full body spasms, and it was insanity to say, and then 48 hours she was racing.
Sure.
So it was quite a scary process to think of, because the doctor was like, well, if I was you, I wouldn't cycle. And
You guys
the
were like,
one
"We
word,
got-
the
we
one
got all
sentence,
this way."
there's one sentence that came out of her mouth, and she was like, I didn't come from South Africa to be told in Belgium, I'm not cycling, so I will be on that bike. And I mean, it still gives me goosebumps to this day. Like, just thinking about it. I mean, the flight, because obviously long distance, we were in a very full flight, so she was sitting upright and having to get her up to move. We were Emirates. Emirates, yeah. They were very helpful when it came into getting her in the plane and out the plane, but it's still very difficult having CP, being in a tight,
can't
cramped
get up
spot.
and,
Getting her
move
up is
away.
another problem because she's with gravity and and all of that. It doesn't work being in a plane. So I had to walk behind her, stand and try and stretch her to try and release a bit. But even on a full plane, it's not exactly the most easiest. But
For us, it was hard because we have a position or self-funded. So, I mean, I was very today on friends and family's money.
Yeah.
So, to pay for a second person
Yeah.
to go with me and accommodation, food, transport, this.
And how many trips do you think, say, for instance, a year? So I know next year it's Paralympics, right? How many trips do you think you would need to take?
Year is 3 to 4 because there's 3 World Cups every year.
Okay.
Plus a World Champs.
Okay.
With this moment, I'm barely getting to one event a year. So it's hard because it's not only myself, but to take a carer, but you're paying double for everything.
Sure. Yeah. So basically, obviously, with people seeing this video as well, I honestly hope that what we're doing here obviously would bring some awareness as well, to some companies, that, because I know there is big companies that do have funding, for athletes, especially para-athletes as yourself that are disabled, and that's living with CP, that you need to move with somebody that, like a carer as Michaela.
I'm aiming for 2 World Cups in May.
Okay.
Before that, I'm the provincial champs and Clipchamp.
Amazing.
After the World Cup, this year was done.
Okay. And
she is also doing August. She's riding the August with my twin sister. I think for us, something that myself and Karen have done with Tony, constantly with her, trying to just keep reassuring her in. It's one sentence that we say is, we got you. I got you, we got you. So
and I just want to say, keep shining your light and keep being the person that you are, Don't change for anyone, your personality is amazing and it just shines through the person that you are, And I really appreciate your time for just sitting down here as well.